In the known galaxy, power was measured in fleets. Not courage, not intelligence, not history. Fleets. The larger your fleet, the more your words mattered. The stronger your fleets, the less often you had to use them. That was the doctrine of the Zilari Combine, a species that had perfected war into something clean, efficient, and utterly predictable. They did not fight battles they could not win. They did not waste resources on unnecessary destruction. And most importantly, they did not fear anything smaller than themselves, which was why they ignored the human ship. The battlefield was already decided. A coalition of weaker species had made the mistake of resisting Zilari expansion. Their combined fleets had been shattered in under 2 hours. What remained was debris, drifting wreckage, and a handful of damaged vessels attempting to flee. Standard procedure dictated total elimination. No survivors, no future resistance. The Zilari fleet moved methodically, erasing what was left. And then, a single ship arrived. New contact detected, the Zilari tactical AI announced. The fleet commander barely glanced at the display. Classification? Human vessel. There was a brief pause. Quantity? 1. The commander exhaled slowly, almost amused. Ignore it. The ship did not leave. Instead, it moved forward, straight toward the battlefield. Commander, the AI said again, the human vessel is advancing. Of course it is, he replied calmly. They are known for poor tactical decisions. Shall we destroy it? The commander considered for a moment, then shook his head. No, focus on primary targets. The human ship continued forward. It was small, damaged. Its hull bore scars from previous battles. Its energy signature was inconsistent. Its weapons outdated compared to Zilari standards. It was not a threat. And yet, it did not slow down. Open channels suddenly filled with a human voice. This is the UNS Resolute. The signal was rough but steady. You're attacking unarmed survivors. That ends now. The Zilari commander actually laughed. One ship, he said. One ship thinks it can intervene? No response came. Instead, the human ship accelerated. It charged directly into the battlefield. Commander, it is entering active combat space. Yes, I can see that. Recommending elimination. Approved. A single Zilari cruiser turned and fired. A precise, calculated shot, enough to disable, not destroy. The human ship dodged. Not perfectly, but enough. The blast grazed its hull, tearing off armor plating, but the ship kept moving. That was unexpected, one officer admitted. Adjust targeting, the commander ordered. Fire again. This time, 2 cruisers fired. The human ship did something no one expected. It didn't evade. It accelerated, straight through the firing line. One shot missed, the other struck. But instead of retreating, the ship pushed forward through the impact, engines screaming under strain. Damage levels critical, the AI reported. And still, it didn't stop. Why is it not retreating? An officer asked. No one answered, because the answer was approaching too fast. The human ship slammed into a Zilari destroyer. The explosion lit up the battlefield. For a moment, everything froze. Did they just ram us? The commander said quietly. Yes. That destroys their vessel. Yes. The commander stared at the expanding debris field. Why would they do that? No one had an answer. But the battlefield did. Because in that moment, everything changed. The fleeing ships, the survivors, stopped running. They turned, and they saw what the humans had done. A single ship against an entire fleet. And it had attacked anyway. Something shifted. "This is Coalition Command." A broken transmission crackled. "All surviving units, regroup." Another voice joined. "We're not done yet." One by one, ships turned back. The Zalari commander frowned. This is illogical. But it was happening. Because the humans had just done something the Zalari doctrine did not account for. They had reminded the battlefield what fighting actually meant. The Zalari Combine had faced resistance before. They had crushed empires larger than this coalition. They had dismantled alliances stronger than this one. But something about this moment was different. "Enemy units are re-engaging," the AI reported. "I can see that. They are not following previous retreat patterns." The commander's eyes narrowed. "No, they're not. The coalition ships were damaged, outgunned, outnumbered, and yet they were advancing." "Why?" an officer asked. "They cannot win." The commander watched the data streams, watched the chaotic movements, the reckless attacks, the complete disregard for survival probabilities. And then he saw it. "They are not trying to win," he said. The officer looked at him. "Then what are they doing?" The commander leaned forward slightly. "They are trying to matter." The realization settled over the command deck like a shadow, because that was not something you could calculate. The Zalari fleet adjusted formation, increasing firepower output, tightening defensive grids. Precision strikes tore through the advancing ships. One after another, coalition vessels were destroyed. And still, they kept coming. A cruiser with no shields rammed a Zalari frigate. A transport ship overloaded its core to disable a weapons platform. Fighters launched with no return trajectory. "This is irrational," the AI stated. "No," the commander said quietly, "it is not." For the first time in his career, he felt it. Uncertainty. Because this kind of enemy could not be predicted, could not be controlled. They did not fear loss, and that made them dangerous. "Recalculate outcome probabilities," he ordered. The AI processed rapidly, then paused. Outcome uncertain." Silence filled the command deck. That had never happened before. The Zalari Combine did not engage in uncertain battles. And now, they were in one. The commander looked back at the debris field where the human ship had been destroyed. One ship. That was all it took. "Signal all units," he said slowly. "Prepare for strategic withdrawal." The officers froze. "Commander, we are winning." "No," he said. "We are losing control." And that was worse. The retreat order spread across the fleet. One by one, Zalari ships disengaged, jumping to faster-than-light travel and leaving the battlefield behind. The coalition forces did not pursue. They couldn't. They were too damaged, too broken. But they were still there, still alive, and that was enough. In the silence that followed, a final transmission was recovered from the destroyed human ship. It was incomplete, damaged, barely intact. But it played. "If you're hearing this," the human voice said, strained but steady, "then we slowed them down." A pause. "That means you still have a chance." Another pause. "Make it count." The transmission ended. Years later, the Zalari Combine updated their doctrine. A new clause was added. Never ignore a human vessel, because even one can change the outcome of a war.